This is Alex Goldowski, and today I'm flying solo. I wanted to talk about AI, the progress of AI, the current state of the industry, who is using AI and how to make money with AI. So I wanted to make sure that we cover a lot of elements of AI, but folks in the industry know that I'm an expert in machine learning AI, and I do see a lot of the advances in the market. So we're going to talk about machine learning in depth. So first off, you have two sets of AI, right? One is Gen AI, which is predictive AI, very heavily used in sales and marketing. You have all kinds of apps and startups. There's 40,000 startups that filed for some sort of innovating idea in 2024. If you ask me, only 10% or less will succeed and try to make money. It's very hard to make money when you use somebody else's tool like OpenAI and put some sort of a wrapper on it. That costs very little, a few dollars, and you really have to go after a huge volume. Machine learning, on the other hand, this is something that we're involved in. One of my companies called One Diligence, and there's so many applications with machine learning. And with the new administration, machine learning can really become a tool for Elon Musk and Vivek. Go into the efficiency in DOGE, newly formed DOGE State Department or Federal Department. So let me cover some of the issues that I see on the market with machine learning. First of all, the definition. Machine learning is a tool in the AI family that looks at the documents or looks at the picture or tries to evaluate the video and learn from it. The learning can be done by AI, we're not there yet, or driven by human. So most of the applications today that really make money and are very powerful in the market, they're driven by human. So human controls the way the machine is learning. Human educates the machine. There's data engineers. There's trainers for the video segments with highlighting where to look by a machine, which is really a software. It's not a machine, it's a software, right? It's an algorithmic software that looks at the images or documents, understands what it is by educating the machine, and takes out some important elements out of it, and you create some rules that create some sort of a reporting structure. So what are the issues, let's say, with the documents, right? I come from the banking and finance backgrounds, title background. There's tons of issues. So first of all, you have a handwritten text all over the documents. And sometimes it's scribbled, so you cannot really tell what's written, but by a human eye, we can see that this is super important. It might be a change in, let's say, a borrower name in a mortgage document, a legal description, very important element of the information. But for the machine, all the machine learning machines, it's based on the pixel by pixel analysis or on the OCR, right? Depending on which side you look at, video versus the text in the documents. And then when you look at the OCR and the text is above the line, it'll put it somewhere where text pattern recognition is not possible. It puts it somewhere in a random spot in the OCR string of the text. So you have to be able to apply different technologies within machine learning umbrella. So we went from AI to machine learning as the sort of a subsection of the AI technology. And under AI, you have multiple technologies that you have to use if you want to be successful in building a very solid business by reading the documents. What are those technologies, right? So everything in machine learning for documents is based on the OCR. That's a base block that everybody's using. So you use, obviously, the regex to recognize the text within a string. You use the table extraction. You use the signature detection. You use the geographical zoom in. You use the just basic text recognition. And most importantly, you have to use the AI element of machine learning, right? Um, which is really understanding the sentences and figuring out what it is. So that's the sort of the scope of machine learning and document extraction of the data. What else do you have to think about? You have to think about duplicate document handling. So duplicate documents is always an issue when you deal with the stack of documents, stack of paper, stack of docs inside the PDF files, where some of the documents are repetitive. And if you don't have right controls in place to verify that some of the documents are duplicates, you might have misleading or false data coming out of the document. So, for that alone, the AI needs to recognize certain data points within documents and match them to say, okay, this document is duplicate, right? So that can be the date, the amount, the invoice number, the text pattern, the size of the file, the address, the parcel number. So there's a lot of fields that you have to really build up and say, well, I really want to have 12 fields within each file the machine reads. If it matches to the next document, I would assume it's duplicate, right? So that's a solvable problem algorithmically that is a current problem on the market. Second thing or third thing you need to worry about is you have to build UX and UI. So it's a user interface facing in your company or for your clients, right? So it can be client facing or it can be facing your own developers or your own underwriters that will show the fields that the machine is extracting and having an ability to cross reference with other documents or with what's expected from the client. That's mandatory. Otherwise, you don't have any proofs or any system that will say the data that you're extracting is a source of truth or accurate data. So, this is very important in a system design. Next, so to bring the value add, right, you have to generate reports, and reports are really customizable per client. That's what we did in our company. In fact, not only reports, we have on the fly curative actions. With the push of a button, when we see a problem, things happen. Either the automatic email comes out. I'll give you an example. In the case of the title claims, if we see an issue with a policy, the email goes out automatically to the underwriter, or the email goes out to the title agent based on some rules. If you have a missing document and you're dealing with a custodian of those documents, you click a button, it requests that document automatically. And of course, you have to think about where is this document loaded. Maybe you have a username and credentials for the custodian in this case to load the document automatically and push it over API. So all of a sudden, you're building a platform, right? So we got from the very cool toy, which we call AI, to a platform definition blocks of what the design need to look like on the enterprise-based AI systems. So with those elements, right, and based on your industry or based on your purpose, you can really start building the block diagram. And each block should be a Lego block. You can build the different workflow functions on what each block will do. Let's say you have a block which is a document recognition block, which is typically a first block in recognizing what documents are inside, or it's a image recognition, recognizing cars on the image, or dresses in the, say, counterfeit type of approach where you detect whether this particular dress that you see on the image matches the brand dress in the magazine, and certainly there's a counterfeit or there's a violation um, of the rights for the manufacturer of the dress. So there's a lot of applications there. You also need to think through the Lego blocks, right? And the next thing you'll need to say is, all right, so how long does it take for me to process the file or an image or the video through my Lego blocks? So you think about it and you look around. Let's see, there's usual three um, approaches or server farms. One is Microsoft's, right? So Microsoft is currently used by a lot of US government departments for super security. So if you're dealing with US governments, I do recommend for you to consider Microsoft Cloud. Then you have a Google Cloud, and then you have AWS. For our company, we use both Microsoft and AWS specifically because we need unlimited power to handle a lot of documents at the same time. In fact, I think we set a record for one of the real orders in our company, processing about 10,000 loans or 10,000 files in 48 hours and going from um, document recognition, data extraction, rules engine, population on a template, automating matching to the documents, generating the reports, indexing and bookmarking. Okay, by the way, indexing and bookmarking, when somebody comes into our office and says, hey, we have this tool that you load something and it does indexing and bookmarking. It reminds me of, remember the time when people were putting the websites online and they say, well, we have a great website. And everybody will say, wow, this is great. You're really a very knowledgeable person in the industry. And, here's the money and go build it up. It's the same thing with indexing and bookmarking and document recognition. This is a past now. If you're not there yet, you're really behind, right? So indexing and bookmarking is a very easy problem to solve today, right? There's a training methodologies that exist to train the machine. And if you are late on the AI game, you already missed that boss, right? Indexing and bookmarking is a very cheap standard way of training the machine using NLP, right? One of the technologies in machine learning to recognize the document based on the prior samples. Okay, so that should be uh, an element, just like an OCR. It should be available for all serious players on the market. And then, of course, coming back to the hardware, I wanted to mention Grog. If you really are after latency, let's say that you are trying to analyze the real time voice recognition or real time uh, human discussion, you need a super fast hardware with the lowest latency. I think Grog bit all the benchmarks, and to me, again, maybe I didn't read the news lately, but Grog is really performing the fastest on the market today. So let's, with all this discussion, right? We see all those technologies. We still don't know what to do, how to apply it, and you feel that you're late to the game. So let's touch on that. First off, the worry of the manager, COO, or CTO of the company is great. Let's implement those technologies, and then I will cut the staff. So that's a common mistake, right? So the reason why you need those technologies is to assist humans to do the job more effectively, right? You don't lay people off unless they're just copying and paste people. You take the data from here, and put the data, there. It reminds me of the Office Space characters, right? You just take the documents from here and then you deliver it there. And I don't do it; somebody else does it for me, right? If you have those people, get rid of them. They don't bring any value to the company. But if the people know what they're doing, they can see the improvements that they can make to a manual process that involves underwriting, document review, or compliance review, or some of those processes that is great for current technology advances in machine learning AI. And I was in touch with folks from PVD. They Patrick Bet David podcast. They um, they wanted to make a video on AI, and Patrick is very big on AI and the advantages of it. But to approach, post the hype, right? Everybody's hyped about AI. to find the approach to your business, to your problem, to solve your problem. That's the key to success. I don't need any more hype. I don't need somebody to say AI will change the world. AI, will cause a huge unemployment spike. AI is this. No, that's the wrong approach. With so much stuff we have to do in every industry and how we do it, it's a winning strategy in our economy. Okay, so we need to enable everybody on your staff, if you're a C-level executive, with the AI solution, right? And the goal for AI solution, now this is important, should be cheaper than offshore staff that you're currently using if you're using offshore, right? So the tasks that will take an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours by offshore staff should be more expensive than the AI solution with one offshore staff or one onshore staff in US, for that example. Okay? And you can start building the whole workflow with that in mind. So in my mind, the economy will benefit from AI. You will not see layoffs unless it's pardon my French, brain dead job. Every task of the knowledgeable employee will be replaced or supplemented by the AI-driven solution. If you start now, you're going to win in the market. If you ignore it, it's like VCR and the floppy disks, right? You ignored the revolution, you're out of the game. So again, post the hype into the real implementation of what's available today. Okay. Let's touch on real examples now, right? I will start talking fast about different examples. I want to make sure that my audience listens, and maybe what I say will say, "Oh yeah, Alex is right," and maybe we see something. And I hope that my video somehow finds its way to Elon Musk and Vivek to have some ideas for federal governments to employ AI and really enable more efficiencies, right? It's not necessarily to lay off people in the government. It's to make them more efficient to do their job, right? So that's the name of the game. I'll start with my industry, banking and finance. So number one, let's talk about collateral review. What's collateral review? Collateral review is you have a big PDF file of about 10,000 pages if it's a seasoned loan, and maybe 1,000 pages if it's a newly originated loan. And you have to verify that the right documents, the required documents for the loan origination or for loan servicing, is located in this blob PDF file. That's the great application for this AI technology. If you're missing a file, you have a trailing portal for a party that's supposed to supply that document to you or to your client, is going to upload, and you re-underwrite or rerun the review automatically and verify that all of the documents are there. To tell the truth, it takes seconds for the automation to generate that type of report. Seconds. All right, let's talk about post-origination review next, right? So on the post-origination review is you just originated the loan, it's about to hit securitization to Fannie, Freddie, or Ginnie Mae, and typically you hire a very expensive CPR firm that will re-review the file again and then approve it for securitization to Fannie, Freddie, or HUD, or VA, Veteran Affairs. All that function can be automated with the human assist on top, right? So you always have to have a human to review some of these processes as a final reviewer. So for some things, you can fully automate the review. For these type of things where you have to look at the income, you have to look at the credit, you have to look at the origination level docs, you have to look at the title, and so on, right? So there's a lot of elements within it, and then somebody will be a decision maker. The goal there is you get the velocity, right? With the rates going down, you will have more refis coming in and more purchases, right? 2023, 2024, year after Feds raised the rate, is dead on refi and purchase market, right? And everybody's looking around, when will the market come back? When the rates will drop. Will they drop in 2025? Just a little bit. So you're not going to have a spike, but at least you're putting all the technology and processes in place for when the rates will drop for the high refi volume again. Another example, so Invoice Recon and claims handling, right? If you're in the process of loss mitigation and you're an attorney or you are the servicer in this case, you need to tally up all the invoices that you're planning to claim against the allowable invoices from Ginnie Mae or from HUD or from Veteran Affairs, right? So your servicer is fronting money for the foreclosure of MUD or Diddaloo or this or that, and all of those fronted money has to be paid by a government. And that is a manual work. It doesn't have to be. It's a very strict rules. The rules get updated. That's where Gen AI comes in. Great application for Gen AI. You look at the rules, you update your tables, static tables on what's allowable, what's not allowed. Another example, appraisers, right? QC, QA, it's not a manual task. The forms are standard. There's 6 or 7 forms that you have to verify. All the fields get extracted, cross-verified. It's a automation task, and the human just oversees it and says, yep, the results are good. Good job, machine learning software. Servicing statements review, that's another application. So that's where you review all the servicing statements on any debt, cars, loans, student debt that are mailed out for accuracy, right? And of course, creditor compliance for anything, right? It's the HELOCs, it's the securitization, it's newly originated loans, any compliance related to GSE sales of loans, Fannie, Freddie, HUD, and so on. Let's touch on, say, insurance market, right? Review of claims, health insurance or car insurance or any insurance, right? So review of claims, you deal with papers, right? You file a claim and then it's a paper unless you file online. And then you have to somehow match the invoices or the charges, and you have to have some rules. Ideal case for machine learning AI, right? For the hazard and flood insurances, maybe you want to double check that the expiration dates match to your system. So all you have to do is find in a stack of documents the insurance and the expiration date of the insurance at that time that you're looking at. Let's touch on car title, taking out the VIN numbers and maybe the estates, right? Very easy, very easy. So it's almost, few bucks or pennies to get that process in place, and then you match it to the collateral. I'll give you an example. Manufactured homes, right? You issue the VIN number or a title number to a manufactured home. You transport it, and then you have to delist it, right, in the county or township or DMV office and retire it, right? So all that process requires document filing, right? Installation of the mobile home, same thing. Conversion of the mobile home to the piece of land, attaching all the electric, attaching all the sewage. So all of that is paper. And then if you're doing it by hand, either you're handling a low volume and no technology will help you, right? You're processing 1 file a day. That's it. And you don't have any marketing to bring you 10 files a day and hire more people or apply the technology, right? So there's a trade-off. As a small business CEO, you're dealing with operations, marketing, sales, HR, and so on. So you're focused on operations more than you should. Pay attention on the sales more, bring more business, enable the AI functionality within your organization, and all of a sudden, you're blooming as an organization. You're earning 5,000. Let's talk about student loans. Student loans, the same thing. Validating loan amount on the application to the tuition that needs to be paid, to the books, bikes, anything that the student would need, and you have the approval for, right? Making sure that that functionality is really buttoned up and you have the collateral, you can securitize student debt, right? You can sell it in the secondary market. Everything is bookmarked and indexed and extracted, and you match the data extracted to the servicing. Credit card, the same thing. Unsecured debt, the same thing, right? So all of those things is paper business that the platform will solve. I should also mention that it can be done in any language. So I just spoke with one of the friends of mine. He needs it to be in Spanish. Everything I just mentioned in Spanish, German, French, and so on. We can do it. Luckily, all the tools are there. In one of my companies, ProTitle USA, we do due diligence in Spanish. Do I speak Spanish? No. But the tools do, right? Another example, income underwriting or asset review. Let's say that you want to evaluate how much cryptocurrency you have and what's the backup proofs for how much bitcoins you have and wallets or whatever, or you have a pension, or you're getting the social security, or you have rental and you have leases and you have oil and gas leases, timber leases, complex securitizations. It's endless amount of applications that you can build by just starting with the Lego blocks approach to the problem that exists in the market, which is everything's paper or systems that's supposed to track something over time need to match the paper. If they don't, you get sued. Now let's get to DOGE. Very interesting. I'm all for it because I want efficiency in our government. It helps America. Okay. And recommendation for Vivek and Elon Musk. Guys, good luck. Here's my few recommendations from my sort of expertise. Number one, SBA. Loan approval automation should be put in place to check for fraud, okay, and verify all the things on SBA approval, income, asset verification, interest rates, and so on. SBA collections, SBA loss-smiths, tons of opportunities to automate this. So in my mind, SBA and VA loans to that degree can benefit. Being a government, okay, there's a lot of red tape to implement very advanced solutions for one reason or the other. Let's say it's a best solution in the market, but let's say the market cap of your company is not $100 million. BA will not work with you because you're too small. Well, if you remove that red tape and focus on cybersecurity, SOC 1, SOC 2, and so on, maybe that requirement, again, I'm coming up with this requirement randomly. Don't quote me on this, but this is an example of where red tape will prevent small, advanced businesses to deal directly with the large government organizations. Maybe enabling a government department to help those small businesses that are really advanced to avoid reselling to larger people that bring no value, but they're backed by SBA, VA, and so on. I'll give you an example. Again, this is hypothetical. Woman-owned minority business is vetted by, let's say HUD or vetted by SBA. Again, hypothetical, right? The value add is managing the vendors. The small startup becomes a vendor and they get a set-aside business from our government. The value of the business is close to zero on that woman-owned minority business. I'm not against it. There has to be a value add, at least on the technology aspect, right? Otherwise, we get stuck with, we have great technology, but you cannot get vetted because you got a big company and you got a set aside. So that prevents a technology to be integrated within the government. All right, so this is very controversial, but give me a feedback. Let's talk about hard partial claims, loss myth, full automation, processing of claims, paying of servicers, um, handling the loss myth, paying on time, expediting the payment to the vendors. Great application. Federal Home Loan Banks. Hey guys, I remember about you. So looking at the collateral files of the troubled banks and automatically reviewing that they have enough collateral to put up to loan money from you. We're talking about billions of dollars. It's impossible to do it by human. It's a trust method. But if the bank is failing, they're desperate. Personally, I would never trust anybody who is desperate. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's a person or if it's a business. Okay? You can run the machine learning application to underwrite the collateral to verify that you have enough collateral to loan money against it, right? So SVB didn't have the right collateral or didn't assemble the right collateral in the first place. All the banks in the United States should have a method of evaluating how much collateral they have in seconds. Well, maybe minutes. But it's a matter of figuring out how can we make a very fast decision by not implementing human labor across millions of pages of documents. Let me touch on FDIC and NCUA, right? The FDIC of credit unions. So, guys, bank reviews or credit unions reviews, same thing. You request a collateral, you run through this. They should have something in their system that will allow you to automatically judge whether they have good collateral or bad collateral. Give them points for maintaining a good collateral. Fully indexed, bookmarked, and connected point to point to their system, give them a credit. If somebody that runs the credit union out of their basement, storing the papers in their safe in a sort of garbled format, probably doesn't deserve a credit. So maybe you put them on the warning block. And I can go on with different improvements. So the point of my discussion today is not to be controversial, not to change our governments, but make it more efficient with the use of machine learning and AI technology. Thanks for watching.